Is life sacred? If it is, should it be defended? Should it be defended with force? And if God created life, what does he expect of those who must protect it? These aren't just ancient questions. They're questions we're still asking today. Every major religion teaches that life is precious, but many also speak of war, justice, and self-defense. How can sacred texts both condemn violence and sometimes allow it? The answer lies in context and imbalance. In Hinduism's Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells the warrior Arjuna to fight in what is called a righteous war. In the Quran, God says, "Fight in the way of Allah against those who fight you, but begin not the hostilities, for Allah does not love aggressors." In the Hebrew Bible, in 1 Samuel, young David takes Goliath's own sword and cuts off the giant's head. In the New Testament, in the Book of Ephesians, believers are told to put on the full armor of God and to take up the sword of the Spirit. In Sikhism, the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, organized a holy militia called the Khalsa to defend the faith. But in the Guru Granth Sahib, Ang 188 warns that even with an army, without remembering God, you are consigned to the most hideous hell. In Mahayana Buddhism, enlightened beings called Bodhisattvas are said to wield spiritual swords, not to kill, but to cut through ignorance. These references don't glorify violence. They acknowledge a reality, that in a broken world, defense may be necessary, but it must always serve a higher purpose. The Bible references capital punishment in Genesis chapter 9, verse 6. Whoever sheds human blood, by human shall their blood be shed. In the New Testament, in the Book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 4, it says that government authorities do not bear the sword in vain, but are agents of wrath to bring punishment on wrongdoers. In Deuteronomy and Numbers, the Hebrew Bible outlines capital punishment for specific offenses. In the Quran, Surah 2, verse 178, gives legal guidance for the punishment of murder, and Surah 24, verse 2, outlines penalties for other crimes. Hinduism's Laws of Manu, also known as the Manu Smriti, says a king may use corporal punishment against the wicked, and that such action is sanctified by God. Still, none of these texts give ordinary people the right to take justice into their own hands. These were meant for rulers and governments, not civilians acting out of anger or vengeance. Throughout all Scripture, the sacredness of life is clear. In Genesis, it says that God created mankind in his own image. In Exodus, God commands, "You shall not murder." In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus teaches, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." In the Book of Mormon, in Alma, a group of believers made a covenant not to take up arms again, even in self-defense. In the Mishnah, it says that whoever sustains a single life is credited as if they sustained the entire world. And the Quran echoes that very idea, saying, "Whoever saves a life, it will be as if they saved all of humanity." The Quran also commands, "Do not take a human life made sacred by Allah except through justice and law." In Hindu scripture, all life shares the same divine essence, or Atman. To harm another being is to harm the divine itself. The Mahabharata teaches that nonviolence is the highest duty. The Buddhist Dhammapada says, putting oneself in another's place, one should not beat or kill others. And in Jainism, nonviolence goes even further. Monks sweep the ground in front of them so they don't accidentally kill a single insect. Of course, none of these scriptures mentions guns. They didn't exist, but that doesn't mean scripture is silent. What we can say is this: no major holy book, read in full context, would ever justify the kind of gun violence we see in the world today. Some traditions speak of war, some allow for defense, but none glorify the taking of innocent life. And in every case where force is permitted, it is restrained. It is lawful. And it is only ever a last resort. In every sacred text, the emphasis is not violence, but life. And wherever God allows force, he also calls his people to mercy, justice, and compassion. When verses are taken out of context to justify violence, they're no longer sacred, they're weaponized. But when we read scripture with humility, what we find is clear. Life matters, peace matters, and violence is never the goal, it is the burden. If this message resonates with you, share it. Let's build a world where faith leads us back to life, not toward violence. Please comment below with your reasons to choose life over violence. Peace.